Ladies, gentlemen, and everything in between. We're back with another F1Rl race. Here today in the lovely town of Brazil. The lovely country of Brazil, I should say. The lovely town of Sao Paulo. Today's lobby is looking very stacked. Of course, we have got the championship winner racing tonight. Of course, it is the boy in the Mercedes. Night Owl, I believe. Let me just double check that because I'm not even sure myself. Should have my pre-race knowledge, I guess. But it is Night Owl who has won the championship. So big congratulations for Night Owl to start off this. We also have the likes of Demizzi missing out on qualifying today with a qualifying ban. Picking up too many penalty points. Won't be able to participate in quali today. Demizzi in the AlphaTauri that is sat in P9 has retired from the session. So we're here. Q1. Believe it is a short quali. However, I might have misclicked and made it a full quali because it does say Q1, unless short has always said Q1. But we have got 17 minutes of qualifying action for us today in F1Rl Tier 2 Brazil. Let's see what happens. Already we see 3 cars going out to track. I believe car number 1 is going to be the Jamaican Bacon. Looks to be the Jamaican Bacon. Followed by, I believe that could be Elite Shots. Looks to be Elite Shots in the Mercedes. Of course, Mercedes have won the Drivers' Championship, and they've also won the Constructors' Championship, taking a massive dominance in Tier 2 this season. As you will see, some of these cars go around the nice track of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Let's get some nice cinematic angles on this Ferrari. Of course, using the white and red livery. A little bit of Mercedes action, as well as the Williams in the cinematic mode around Brazil here today. Night Owl's retired from the session, looking to try and potentially do a last to first. Of course, has already won the championship, so it doesn't really need to participate in quali today. Just turning up for the fun of it. We will have a couple people start their laps here. Latifi on a lap. Let's see what the provisional pole lap will be. A lot of these cars coming out of the pits here. Hopefully trying to not impede, as this Alfa Romeo is flying around this track today. Let's see what will happen here. As I accidentally press a button. Here we go then. Latifi slightly impeded there by the McLaren. Could have been Mayer. Could have also been Massa, not too sure. Of course, these two are Massa and Latifi also fighting for that second place in the championship, as well as BP Reggie also fighting for that P2 in the championship here today. As Latifi looks to cross the line here for a bold prediction. 183, 186, not terribly bad, as Fade Jacobs now picked up a time penalty and a grid penalty for some sort of collision with BCX, as BCX has slowed down. Latifi has gone pole by 2 tenths currently. Jamaican Bacon will be the second car to cross the line, and Elite Shots will be the third. BCX could look to be the fourth, but won't be looking to be the fourth. It will be FaZe Kermit with a 191. Not a bad lap time by all means. Let's get this track map on full. Let's see where these drivers are at then. Here we go. We want to get rid of that one. And here we go. So there's going to be an Alpine next to potentially set a lap or cross the line. The Alpine, however, won't be setting a lap here. It will be, I believe, not Connor Robb. It will be DWR Flames. No, it won't be DWR Flames. It will be I'm not even sure. The McLaren of Meh? No, the McLaren of Massa. The McLaren of Massa now to cross the line potentially for a pole. Close to being a pole. P3, purple sector 3. Not bad lap at all. Can the second McLaren beat that lap though? Invalid, won't beat it. Sets the lap now, or at least starts the lap now. We will have now the two Ferraris in XD. Connor Robb to go across the line for P7, and DWR Flames go across the line for a P9. Goes onto a lap. Looks to have not used a lot of ERS in that last lap. Is or was DWR Flames saving ERS? By the looks of it, might want to potentially go in for a pit stop here and go out for another lap. Looks to have messed that one up a lot. Meh, invalid again. Struggling with track limits. Having a bit of a meh. As always. Jamaican Bacon though. On a flyer of an in-lap. Let's just spectate this in-lap real quick. As all of the cars currently are not on laps that can be counted. Actually, let's just double check on Connor Robb. Connor Robb has invalidated, which is very nicely done. As we can see this lovely Williams drive around the track of Sao Paulo, Brazil. As the Ferrari get a little bit of racing action. Ferrari making a nice overtake on the Williams there, going slow in that sector. Connor Robb will now enter the pits. So in goes to the pits for Connor, slowing down very early, I must say. As Jamaican Bacon is going to go for another lap on only 51% ERS and has invalidated. Was it a mistake to go for another lap? I'm not sure. I think it was though. I think the Jamaican Bacon there should have pitted. I know he's trying to learn the track a bit more better, understand where you can push and where you can't push the throttle, but just use it burning those soft tyres. Unless you've got a plan, unless you've got a real strategy towards those soft tyres and keeping them alive, it's hard to keep these tyres alive around Brazil. It is. I believe the preferred strategy today will be mediums to hards, or potentially hards to mediums. But these drivers at the moment are burning those soft tyres. Of course, safety cars could always come into play. You always need soft tyres under the safety cars. And we know this in F1Rl. It happens a lot. Let's go on board though with Mr. Andy Moore. The one and only himself. Mr. Andy Moore. Having a good qualifying so far. Sat in P6, a 9.4. Looks to be potentially on for a podium here around Brazil. Brazil is going to be the second to last race on the calendar here. And we're going to see Andy Moore go for a lap. Let's ride on board with Andy Moore. Let's clear off most of the screen apart from the telemetry and position him. What will Andy Moore set then? Into the first sector, keeping that car lovely close to the curb on exit, using the maximum track width. Will it be a purple sector one for Andy Moore? It will be. 1/10 up currently. Andy Moore goes into the uphill section. Hopefully that McLaren doesn't impede. The McLaren keeps to the side and doesn't impede Mr. Moore. And Mr. Moore is flying here. Andy looking like he is going to potentially be a threat for the race win here in Sao Paulo. Kissing every apex like it's one of his many girlfriends. Purple sector 2 here for Andy Moore. Will it be a purple sector 3? Can Andy Moore get his first pole position of the season in Tier 2 Brazil? Andy to cross the line for... It's P6? No, it's P4. Andy Moore P4. That third sector wasn't quite enough for the young man. But still a nice lap time of a 1.9 flat. Currently Latifi is leading the rest of this pack. but it's currently a decent amount as my keyboard seems to have reset itself. Here we go then. Latifi into the pits. Jamaican Bacon also in the pits. Massa out on a lap. 5 temps up. Purple sector 2 and spins. That's not going to be good on the lap time. Maybe Massa will pit here. Or maybe Massa might try get past it. Hopefully didn't lose a lot of time. Looks to have lost a lot of time and has pitted due to it. BP Reggie though. P2. What a lap we've just missed there. Sorry about that one. The Mercedes Elite Shots next across the line won't be next across the line. The Red Bull of Andy Moore also catching up to the back of that Mercedes. Looks to pit. Does pit. BCX, how are you doing? Back towards the end of the grid. On the outlap. Looks to be coming towards the end lap very shortly. Shredded Meats though. Also into the pits. Oh, doesn't go into the pits. Was that a mistake there from Shredded Meats? I think it might have been. I think it might have been a mistake there from Shredded. As Shredded has gone past the pits. And won't have a lot of battery left to set another lap. Anyway, BCX Pro. Let's see how much of a pro you are. Let's see you set a pole lap here. Or a challenging lap for that top 3. In the Alpine, BCX hugging that curb. Not quite enough. So it will be slightly slower than the likes of Latifi. Currently, no purple sector 1 for BCX. BCX though looking to set a nice time around Brazil. This lap is looking nice. Potentially a P8 here in this lap. Don't think it will be quite as competitive unless there's a purple sector 2 in here. This sector 2 has been very good, so you never know, this could be a purple sector 2 here for BCX. BCX Pro to cross the line for sector 2. Won't be a purple sector 2. Can he get a purple sector 3 though? Can he set himself up in that top 8? BCX to cross the line for P10. A little bit disappointing there from BCX. I think he had a bit more pace in him. I think he knows he had a bit more pace in him as well. Let's go now towards Massa. No. We'll go towards Fade. We'll stay on board with Fade, as Fade is currently on a lap here. Fade Jacob, one of the newer drivers to the league. BTX, of course, getting out of the way. Experienced driver, knows how to not impede in qualifying. Fade Jacob on the Xbox, in the AlphaTauri. What can he set? Let's find out very shortly. Into the right-hander downhill section. The immediate left uphill. Traction likes to slip out. Keeps the car in a straight line. Very well done. Very nicely done. BCX is off the track trying to not impede and has retired. Was there a potential crash there from BCX? I'm not too sure. We'll look back at that shortly. Hopefully we'll get some words from BCX towards the end of the race, potentially on how that incident occurred. Anyway, Fade Jacob to cross the line for P14 still doesn't improve, or P13 even doesn't improve as much as what he had hoped. On board now with the Ferrari of Connor Robb. What's the Ferrari of Connor Robb got? Purple Sector 2. Connor might be flying here. Purple Sector 2 for Connor in the Ferrari. What can he do in Sector 3? It looks a little bit twitchy. Not quite very smooth. But it is going to be a P9 for Connor. Doesn't improve, sadly. Let's now ride on board with Mr. Andy Moore. I see him down there. Not quite beating his first sector time. A little bit slower. However, let's check out this sector 2 then. In the dirty air of the Haas. Brakes a little bit late, Andy Moore does. However, looks to still be pretty good. The Alpine nearly reverses into the side of Andy there. That is Cal around and in a dangerous position on track with the AlphaTauri of, I believe, potentially Fade. Does Andy back out of this lap? By the looks of it, potentially he has. I think Andy has... No, he hasn't. The DRS is... Or the ERS is still ticking down. Not quite sure if this is going to be his lap. He decides to pit. I think that Alpine there that was a span around potentially did impede on Andy Moore. Because Andy Moore, I believe, thought potentially that Alpine might have reversed into him. It looked like it was going to happen. And I think Andy just got a little bit scared. Wanted to save the car instead of finishing the lap. Brave decision making from Mr. Moore as always. Jamaican Bacon though, purple sector 1, hang on. Is he cooking? Before the race he was complaining about his time, he thought he was off the pace. But now look, he is sat in P3 having a purple sector 1. Let's see how his sector 2 goes. Into the uphill section, immediate right-hander. Very nicely taken there from the Jamaican Bacon. Massa goes pole with an 8.4. Purple sector 2 here from the Jamaican Bacon. 3 temps up. Currently on the route to take that pole position from Massa. Needs to find about half a tenth to get that pole position. Will he get that pole position? Jamaican Bacon to cross the line. 4. It's pole! 108.392. It's pole for the Jamaican Bacon. It's pole for the Williams currently. However, there is still a lot of time left in the session. 2 minutes remain. It's anyone's to grab. By the looks of it, it could be Latifi's to grab here. Latifi on a lap. If Andy Moore doesn't get out of the pits very soon, he could potentially miss the final calling of laps here. Latifi invalidates. Latifi has invalidated the lap. That means Cal now gone P4 invalid. BP Reggie though on a lap. Let's see what BP Reggie can do. 43% ERS. I believe that is potentially one of the lowest ERS amounts I've seen going into that corner there. Will BP Reggie have enough ERS to finish the lap? Or has he timed it perfectly? BP Reggie, an experienced driver, a very fast driver as well. Knows what to do. Knows where to put his car. Knows how to use the ERS brilliantly by the looks of it. Purple sector 2 for BP Reggie here. Is BP Reggie on track to beat the Jamaican Bacon's pole here? And to cross the line for BP Reggie. And it's pole! Provisional pole for the Aston Martin driver here. Can Mayer do anything about it though? Mayer starting the lap. Very heavy on the brakes. Goes very wide into turn 1. I don't think that is enough pace to see Mayer potentially doing a madness and upsetting that top 3. DWR Flames just hits the line. Perfectly timed. 20 seconds left of the session. Anyone in the pit still or on an outlap won't be able to count. Won't be able to make it cross the line. I don't think Connor Robb has enough time here in his lap to potentially do anything. I think he doesn't either. He is on the grass spinning out. And potentially his AI will affect his teammate's lap if the AI doesn't get out of the way. Latifi in the wall as always. Face Kermit P6. Connor Robb's AI could affect DWR Flames here on the lap. It doesn't matter. DWR Flames has invalidated. Elite Shots into the pits as well. Happy with the P8 Mayer. Having a Mayer in quali. P10 finish by the looks of it. And wow. That's going to be our qualifying order, I believe. I believe that will be our qualifying order here in a sunny Brazil. BP Reggie taking pole. followed by the Jamaican Bacon, followed by then Massa, Latifi, Cal, FaZe Kermit, Neo, Elite Shots, Andy Moore, Mare, who's still having a mare, needs to cross that line very soon. Doing donuts potentially will result in penalties from the stewards here. But that will be our end of qualifying. Tier 2, round 9, Brazil. The Tier 2 drivers never disappoint. They never disappoint. There's always drama. There's always late finishes. And BP Reggie has snuck pole from the Jamaican Bacon by less than a tenth. 18 thousandths of a second between Jamaican Bacon and BP Reggie, and less than a tenth between all three of our top drivers here in Tier 2. Tier 2 is a good league. Tier 2 is a good tier even. Wow. Anyway, our race order will be BP Reggie, followed by the Jamaican Bacon, followed by Massa in P3, Latifi in P4, Cal P5, FaZe Kermit P6, Neo P7, Elite Shots P8, 9th is F1 Andy Moore, 10th is Mare, 11th Flames, 12th Connor, and BCX in 13th, and then Shredded in 14th. Of course, I did potentially miss 2 of those drivers there, down towards the back of the grid, but that will be our top 14 here. Strategies. Let's talk strategies. Last time in Tier 1, when I raced Brazil, I believe I went a medium to hard strategy. Will a lot of drivers be doing the same? I'm not too sure. Some of these drivers like to chance it on the softer tyres at the start of the race just to get them that little bit ahead, and then chance it on the hards to the end. But of course, the hards always do drop off, and this track is a track with a lot of degradation. The front tyres degrade a lot quicker. I believe the front right tyre, or it might be the front left tyre, one of them degrades a lot faster than the other. So it'd be interesting to see the driver's tyre choices here. Anyways, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And it's lights out and away we go. Or is it? And now it's lights out and away we go. BP Reggie stays in first here. Will Jamaican Bacon look to the inside to try and make a move? He doesn't. Jamaican Bacon defending from Massa very nicely. Andy has had something happen to him. Andy has dropped a lot of positions here, as we do see a lot of battles heating up towards the back of the pack here. The Haas looking down the inside of the AlphaTauri looking down the inside of the other AlphaTauri. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel action there. One goes wide. Nearly hits Andy Moore in the back. Just misses. Fade Jacob is in the back currently. Let's go back towards the front here. As we can see, FaZe Kermit just edging Elite Shots out of the way. And there's a McLaren around. There's contact. Big contact there. That could result in a safety car. There's at least 2 front wings damage there. Massa has had a bit of a mare, just like the teammate. There is cars everywhere, but right now in sector 2, as the preferred strategy looks to be medium soft for a lot of these drivers, or a medium hard medium. As we have a lovely little pack here towards the back here, from P6 all the way down to P10, now P11 even, getting involved in this 5-car battle. There's a yellow flag just down the road. That looks to be what was that? A Ferrari that's around. There's so much happening, I can't even say what's happening. DWR Flames in the McLaren sandwich here. It's not looking the best for that Ferrari driver, as the Mizzy is trying to make his way around Massa here. The front 2 of BP Reggie and the Jamaican Bacon have seemed to escape each other, or escape the drama from the rest of the pack here. Latifi trying to get within DRS of the Jamaican Bacon, as we do see a lovely fight happening just in front of us here. The Mizzy in P8, Massa P7 started towards the top of the grid. There's cars changing order towards the back. Looks to be a Haas going slowly. What has happened to the Haas driver of Shredded Meats? I'm not sure. Andy Moore down in P12 after starting P9. Good qualifying start from him. And now we see two drivers into the pit straight away. Face Kermit and Massa into the pits. Is that for new front wings? I think it might be. There might have been some contact made there. We'll see the McLaren now go side by side, as well as the Mercedes go side by side with the AlphaTauri. The McLaren makes it through. Does the Mercedes make it through? The Mercedes still side by side battling here with the AlphaTauri. Just edges the AlphaTauri wide and looks to have held the position. That's a good overtake there from Night Owl, starting at the back of the grid, now up to P6. Now trying to make a move on the McLaren, side by side, downhill. The McLaren's going to have the inside line here. I think Night Owl might have to back out, but no, stays side by side. Now Night Owl has the inside line and gets the move done on the McLaren. This is fantastic driving here from Night Owl in the Mercedes. Can he go get the Ferrari in this next corner? DRS should be enabled shortly if it hasn't already been enabled. Mercedes now on the back of the Ferrari here. As we also do see up the road, BP Reggie under pressure from the Williams driver. Night Owl looks the inside, licks the stamp and sends it. See you later, Ferrari. That's my position. Night Owl up into P4. Now looking with a chance of potentially winning the race. But DWR Flames isn't going to let that nicely and goes for the move back. Takes the position back. But hang on a second. Night Owl's going to fight it around the outside yet again. But doesn't quite make the move stick. Or does he? Down the inside here. Night Owl. Through goes Night Owl. It's unbelievable stuff here from the Mercedes driver. Demizzi fighting Mare. Trying to hold off Mare a little bit longer before Mare eventually has the Mare. But this is a lovely four-way train here that Night Owl is slowly starting to escape from. That pace in that Merc has been there all season, and it looks to be there even longer. Night Owl now clears the 1 second gap between himself and DWR Flames. And now it's 5 seconds down the road to Latifi. As we see Connor Robb leave the session, I believe it potentially was. Could we get an invite back to Connor Robb? If possible, I'm not sure. The field is slowly starting to spread out here, which is allowing us to just enjoy the racing. As we do see another battle between the Ferrari and the AlphaTauri of the Mizzy and DWR Flames. It's again back in this little pack. DWR Flames gets overtaken by looks of it by the Mizzy. And now the Mizzy just holding off that DWR Flames Ferrari car. Mare having a bit of a mare, losing the back of the other cars in front. As you can see, there's gaps starting to form between the Ferrari and the McLaren there. Massa has picked up some sort of penalty, whether that's a time penalty for corner cutting, or maybe that's a time penalty for track limits, or maybe it's a time penalty for collision. The Mizzy looks to potentially had a spin. No, it wasn't. It was the teammate of the Mizzy, Fade Jacob. Fade Jacob off the track, down in P13. Not looking good for Fade Jacob today. DWR Flames still battling with the Mizzy here. Both drivers off the track, not leaving each other a little bit of space. But that allows Mare. Through goes Mare on the Mizzy. And potentially now Mare looks to get the Ferrari. Looks to the inside. Just a little bit too far back to make any moves. But Mare has got that position on the Mizzy here. Is the Mizzy dropping places? Is it the fuel? Is it the tyres? I'm not too sure. All of these drivers in this little freeway fight are, of course, on the medium tyres. As BP Reggie is slowly gapping the Jamaican Bacon for the lead of this race and catching the likes of Elite Shots down in P16. I didn't even see it, but Andy Moore had left the session, potentially got disconnected. Not what you want to see by all means. Let's go back to this battle at the front here, or towards the front for 5th and 6th. The Mizzy defending from the McLaren. DWR Flames just escaping the Mizzy's reach. However, down the inside line, or the outside line the Mizzy has now, doesn't go for it. Stays behind. Patience is key in this battle. Whose tyres are going to go first? Who's pitting first? Wow. This has been an entertaining race so far. Tier 2 never disappoints at all. As we do see the likes of FaZe Kermit now slowly catching the back of Massa in P10. BP Reggie though smashing it out in first now. 2.3 seconds to the Jamaican Bacon. Will the Jamaican Bacon potentially go for an undercut here? The Jamaican Bacon tyres looks to have been a bit more affected by degrading than BP Reggie's. As BP Reggie is still flying around this track, lap after lap, saving the battery now. Doesn't need to deploy battery, just needs to save to defend from any potential attacks that are coming down the line. Demizzi though still on the back of DWR Flames, and of course Mare is just in the background lurking. This is what Mare does. Mare lurks in the background, and then all of a sudden Mare has a mare and everyone knows about it. However, that Mare looks to not be coming so far in Brazil. Has Mare fixed the spins and the crashes and the silly mistakes? We'll never know. But FaZe Kermit is slowly catching Massa here on those hard tyres. Massa qualifying really highly in Brazil, but doesn't have the race pace. Is that setup that Massa has just too optimal for qualifying and not optimized for racing at all? By looks of it, it could well and truly be just not optimal setup, because Massa is losing time here to the likes of FaZe Kermit, and although catching shredded meats and now going for a move on shredded meats, Massa is losing a lot of time here to these back runners, or towards the end of the midfield runners. As FaZe Kermit has overtaken Shredded here, and so has Massa. I feel bad for Shredded here. The DRS is deadly around Brazil, and it's just proved itself once again how deadly the DRS really is. But now Shredded will have the DRS, allowing him to catch up to the likes of FaZe Kermit and Massa. As we'll now swap back again to this fight with the Mizzy, Mare and DWR Flames. Of course, DWR Flames still leading this fight. However, it looks to be getting tasty. The Mizzy is slowly catching this Ferrari, and Mare is slowly catching this AlphaTauri. As we can see, almost touching wheels around the exit of turn, I believe that's 10. The Ferrari seems to always get a better exit out that last corner. However, the Mizzy didn't have the best of exits there. Will the McLaren of Mare potentially look down the inside and dive bomb this corner? No. They're being wise, they're being smart, using a bit of IQ. As we have seen now Shredded go have a little bit of a moment, allowing Faded Jacob to overtake. Shredded has now lost 4 positions in 1 lap. That is not good for the harsh driver whatsoever. But one driver we haven't mentioned at all this race is Neo. Neo down in P13. Neo washed? Potentially. Neo down in P13, currently slowly catching Shredded after Shredded has had a couple of errors lap after lap. But let's look back at this Demizzi fight again with this Ferrari and McLaren. I keep on going back to it, and there's a reason for it, because this fight is heating up. All 3 cars very close together. This is wheel-to-wheel racing. This is 3 drivers that know their limits. This is 3 drivers that know when to overtake, and they're using their brains, just allowing each other to allowing each other to stay in each other's DRS. However, we will see Demizzi now make a move for the lead of this little freeway pack and gets the move done. Now it's up to Demizzi to break DRS in the remainder of this lap. Battery flashing, I don't think he has the ability to do it, as we will see the Ferrari go for a move down the inside. Demizzi defends very nicely there. Some will say a late move, some will say brilliant defending. But Demizzi is leading this freeway pack. Mare dropping off the pace slowly, but still involved. As we see a Red Bull span around, it looks to be Andy Moore. Andy Moore not having the best of days so far here. Can he get out of the way of the Alfa Romeo? It's close, but I believe he has made it. Connor gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits, multiple warnings, as well as Neo now picking up a 3-second time limit penalty. It's not looking good for Neo here. And Shredded Meats has now picked up a 3-second time penalty. Towards the back, the grid is a penalty festival right now. But towards the front of the grid, there's only one man that's dominating so far, and it is BP Reggie. 4.2 seconds clear currently, as we see a Fade Jacob off the track once again. That AlphaTauri hasn't been having a good race. The other AlphaTauri, though, we will swap back to, because he is leading this pack once again. And Fade Jacob has left the session. Whether that was a disconnect or whether that was a purposeful leave, we are not sure. But if Fade Jacob doesn't rejoin, they will be disqualified from this race. So we could be looking at an early disqualification there for Fade Jacob down in P14. Elite Shots down in P15. Not having the best of races in today's Tier 2 race around Brazil. Sao Paulo circuit is a tricky one, and some of these drivers are starting to know how tricky it really is. Jamaican Bacon now 5 seconds away from P1. Not what you want to see if you're a Williams fan whatsoever. Shredded Meats is around again, struggling around Brazil. Probably needs to box some hard tyres to potentially make any undercut moves on any drivers ahead. Of course, I believe a lap 13 to 17 is the pit window for hard tyres to make it to the end. So we might see some early pit stoppers here for some hard tyres by some of these drivers. As I misclick my buttons. BP Reggie, though, catching the Merc and the AlphaTauri of Fade Jacob here. Fade Jacob dropping positions in that AI car. However, the AI is now potentially looking to fight it around the outside. I didn't know the AIs did that. I'm not sure what AI difficulty this lobby is on for the AIs. However, it doesn't look very high because cars are still losing a lot of time. Andy Moore overtakes Shredded. Into the pit Shredded goes. Comes out on a new set of mediums. Is it the medium, soft strategy for Shredded? It's potential of working, but at the same time, I don't see it working. For me, it's got to be medium hards or medium softs. But those mediums get cooked very, very nicely. Or should I say they get cooked very nicely, but they're not nice to drive on whatsoever. As I'm now getting spam invitations from Xbox, so I hope you guys cannot see that on stream. But we do have BP Reggie still leading this race. Most of the cars are slightly bunched up away from each other. We will see Night Owl, by the looks of it, overtake Andy Moore, being a back marker. Andy Moore now being lapped by P4. That's probably due to the disconnect. However, Andy Moore, having been lapped, however, now fighting it round the outside the Merc, gets the position done on the Merc driver. But now the blue flags are going to kick in again. Was that a smart decision from Andy Moore, or should Andy have let the Mercedes driver through and then just benefited off of that, using the ERS, using the DRS, and just staying in the tow, allowing himself to get pushed along by the Mercedes driver? I'm not too sure. However, back down the grid, we will see Mayer not too far away from the Mizzy here, as we look for some drivers to start pitting. Some drivers have started to pit. As we can see, Massa has made a stop, Face Kermit's made a stop, Neo's made a stop, Elite Shots and Connor, as well as Shredded Meats, all have made their pit stop. How much will that pit stop make a gain on some of these drivers when they need to pit? I'm not too sure. But another driver that's in the pits currently is an Alpine. By the looks of it, that is BCX Pro. Being overtaken by Elite Shots, coming out just behind the 3 drivers ahead. Is it the hard tyres? It's the hard tyres for BCX Pro. He knows what he's doing. Lap 16, perfect pit stop for an undercut by the looks of it. Will it work out? Let's hope so for BCX's sake. The Jamaican Bacon though, what is he going to do? Is he going to box early for an undercut, potentially overtake the likes of BP Reggie after it? Or is he going to go for the overcut? Is Jamaican Bacon on the same strategy as BP Reggie? I'm not sure. I wish I could know. That's for sure. Mayer in P6 currently, still 6 tenths away from the Mizzy. As we get to see some lovely racing by some of these drivers around the Brazil circuit. Neo 3 tenths off of DWR Flames here. We are seeing a battle starting to heat up. It's now in the oven. Neo versus DWR Flames. Who's going to come out on top though? I'm not too sure, but this battle is going to go now down to the DRS straight. Who has better straight line speed? Will it be Neo or will it be DWR Flames? I'm not too sure. However, Neo in the DRS doesn't look to make that much ground on the Ferrari driver ahead. That straight line speed isn't very good on that Aston Martin. Which means in Sector 2, will that Aston Martin catch that Ferrari? There's a very high potential chance that it will. Mayer still 5 tenths away from the Alpha Tauri of the Mizzy. And we do see the Alpine of BCX in that McLaren sandwich, I believe, after being lapped. But Mayer is going to now pit for the undercut on the Mizzy. How will the Mizzy respond? Is the Mizzy burning that ERS? I hope so, or else that could be a big problem for the Mizzy. That could well and truly be time lost in a lap. Burning that ERS, the Mizzy is looking to get around to pit as soon as possible. As we have seen now, the McLaren exit the pits just ahead of a nice battle between a Ferrari and an Aston Martin. And I believe now an Alpha Tauri as well. As Neo looks to try and make it around Fade. Can't quite make it around Fade. Makes it around Fade finally. Loses a little bit of the rear there. But I believe he will be fine. As now the Mizzy will not look to go into the pits. and is defending from the Alpine that is lapped. The smart decision here would be to allow the Alpine through and sit in the DRS. However, the Mizzy has another idea. But all this battling out front is not good for them tyres. It's not good for the tyre life of the Mizzy, which will allow potentially Mare, as long as Mare doesn't have a bit of a mare sat in the DRS of that Ferrari ahead, it could well and truly be Mare ahead of the Mizzy by the end of this stint. As we see Connor leave the session. That could well and truly be a disconnect there from Connor. But the Mizzy is still pushing. The Alpine now ahead of the Mizzy. Sitting inside of the DRS, the Mizzy is. This will allow the Mizzy to gain a bit more speed and stay a bit more ahead of the AlphaTauri of the McLaren driver that has undercut him currently. I don't even remember the drivers anymore. Jamaican Bacon though, 19 laps on the medium tyres. When is the strategy switch to box to the softs by the looks of it? It's not quite yet. It's not quite yet. When will BP Reggie box though? That is the other question. Potentially very soon. Jamaican Bacon inside of that pit window though, as well as now BP Reggie inside the pit window. There's a blue box symbol. Who will box and when will they box? That is the question. Latifi coming now out of the pits on the new hard tyre compound against some soft runners on older tyres. Is Latifi now looking for an undercut? Sorry about that one. Had a little bit of a yawn. Meh. 3-second time penalty. There's a Ferrari. Looks to be in the bin. Is that Connor? It is Connor. Connor Robb now stopped off track, allowing the cars to go ahead before... Oh no, Connor is beached. Might want to reset to the track. Is allowed to reset to the track if beached the car. Just needs to get off the racing line as soon as possible and when the track is clear. But Connor has now been disqualified from the session. Didn't reset to track quick enough after being beached. So we will see now Jamaican Bacon into the pits for the soft tyre compound. This could be the undercut of the century. Latifi. That gap isn't quite enough closed down for Latifi to get involved here. However, Night Owl now up into P2. Night Owl masterclass. How does he do it? He needs to do one more pit stop, but those hard tyres are looking very nice at the moment. Could easily do another 6, 7, 8 laps on those hard tyre compounds. Of course, the softs of the Jamaican Bacon will be gaining very quickly. But I believe Night Owl here potentially has cooked up a masterpiece. Will Night Owl go into the pits here this lap? Goes into the pits this lap for, I believe, soft tyres. Or it might be the medium tyre compound here. I'm not too sure. But the softs will last till the end. It's just how much pace will they have. Is Night Owl thinking of that? BP Reggie still on those medium tyre compound in the DRS of his Aston Martin teammate Neo, who is currently down in 10th. So BP Reggie has lapped already 5 cars and is on the way to lap a 6th car. Wow. This is a driver you don't want to be messing with right now. He has pure pace, pure passion for the sport. Meh. Up into P7. After the pit stop undercut has worked, Demizzi is now in P8. Should have boxed a little bit earlier potentially. Not a lot of battery left. Needs to save the battery. BP Reggie is in the pits. BP Reggie is in the pits. Jamaican Bacon is catching Night Owl. Not quite. Jamaican Bacon has already caught Night Owl. And is now flying. Night Owl in the pits. Oh no, Night Owl's already pit. I can't even make sense of what's happening anymore. My brain has fried. But we'll see BP Reggie come out only around 2 seconds ahead of the Jamaican Bacon by the looks of it. It could be a bit more after this gap is closed. There's one driver separating BP Reggie and Night Owl. Oh no, there's one driver separating BP Reggie and the Jamaican Bacon, and that is Elite Shots currently in the Mercedes. Always, when I see a Mercedes that looks to be high up on the grid, I always assume it's Night Owl because Night Owl is our championship winner. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is the one and only Elite Shots. But Jamaican Bacon has now passed Elite Shots and is now hunting for BP Reggie. He needs the points in this Tier 2 race. He wants the points in this Tier 2 race. Let's have a little look at the Constructors' Championship while we can. Night Owl currently has won the championship. BP Reggie is sat in 4th place. After this race, BP Reggie will be up into, I believe, for 2nd place in the championship here. So BP Reggie needs to win this race here today. With J7 BP not turning up, Andy Moore's teammate in the Red Bull. With him not turning up, we could be seeing the Jamaican Bacon make a nice little title charge here for a P2, maybe P3 in the Drivers' Championship. Of course, the Drivers' Championship already has been won. However, the Jamaican Bacon is looking still to score highly this season. And is currently sat in P6 in the championship with 65 points. However, after these lovely points from a potential P2, maybe even a potential P1 finish, it's looking good for the Jamaican Bacon. It is looking very nice for the Jamaican Bacon here today. That is for sure. Face Kermit. Just in front of the likes of DWR Flames, Mare and Demizzi. This fight is back. Once again, I thought this would be happening very shortly, and by the looks of it is happening now. Demizzi on the soft tyres gets past Mare. Demizzi on the soft tyres. Can he get past the Ferrari of DWR Flames though? And we do see Face Kermit also involved just up the road here in Demizzi's sights. Can Demizzi potentially pull off a P5 finish here today in Tier 2 Brazil? It's looking very close. Demizzi though, trying to make a move on the Ferrari. Can't quite make it done. Maybe under DRS, Demizzi can make this move. Probably needs to start saving battery should get him on the straight without the battery usage. Get that battery off, son. You're already through. No need to keep it on. The Mizzy shouldn't use any battery here to defend this position on the straight. However, I've got a feeling he will. He's already using it. The Mizzy out of battery now. Still trying to use the battery. Not quite any left though. The Mizzy up into P6. A little bit further behind though. As we can see now, Massa on the back of DWR Flames. After having an early mistake that has potentially now costed him a lot of positions and looks to have costed him a potential podium finish here today. Massa gets past DWR Flames in fashion. And now can Mare get past DWR Flames? DWR Flames is stuck in a McLaren sandwich once again. Not really what he wants to see here, but now it's reality. But what is reality as well is potentially Massa now making a move on the Mizzy into the corner. Who's going to be coming out on top? It looks to be the McLaren. It is the McLaren. The McLaren edges past the Mizzy here, but the Mizzy will want to fight this back under DRS. A little bit of ERS deployed. No battery remains for the Mizzy. Massa, no battery as well. Side by side, wheel to wheel. The Mizzy backs out of the move. It's smart from the Mizzy. And we see a little bit of a scrap behind between DWR Flames and Mare. And Mare gets past DWR Flames. Not having a Mare today. The Mizzy now in the McLaren sandwich. The Mizzy now in the McLaren sandwich, just too far away from Massa to catch any drift of DRS, even with ERS deployed. But Massa is showing the pace now on those medium tyre compounds and is now pushing to get FaZe Kermit down the inside. Massa goes down the inside. The position is kept. Massa now up into P5. DWR Flames behind Mare. Not what he wants to see anytime soon. Night Owl. Bit far away from the likes of Jamaican Bacon and BP Reggie. BP Reggie 10 seconds now separates him and the Jamaican Bacon. BP Reggie is having a wonderful drive here today. Jamaican Bacon might just want to save the battery, defend any possible positions here, as Night Owl is only 4 seconds now up the road from the Jamaican Bacon. That gap is closing. 3.8 now, 3.7, 3.8, back down to 3.7, 3.6 now. Night Owl is catching the Jamaican Bacon slowly but surely. Jamaican Bacon might just want to save the battery to potentially defend from this attack by Night Owl. Of course, the championship winner wants to try and win another race, but I don't think he will be able to. But he's looking to get that podium finish. He wants that podium finish, and so far it's coming for him. The gap now is 3.2 between the Jamaican Bacon and Night Owl. Night Owl's coming. 3.2 seconds now separates the gap between second and third. And that gap between first and second is now 12 seconds. Is the Jamaican Bacon slowing? Is the Jamaican Bacon's tyres gone? I'm not too sure. But that Williams driver wanted good points today. And is on track for some good points. Just needs to defend from the Mercedes driver. And that looks to be a Alfa Romeo around. It is Latifi. Latifi has span yet again. That gap of 3.2 seconds isn't coming down at the moment though. Night Out is still pushing. I spoke too soon. 3.1 seconds now. If this continues at this rate, Night Owl will still finish behind the Jamaican Bacon as long as there is no track limit penalties. The Williams driver said he'd struggle with track limit penalties and so far hasn't got one. Have I spoke too soon? Will the commentator's curse come into play? 2.9 seconds now between Night Owl and the Jamaican Bacon. Night Owl starting to push. Night Owl needs to catch around 3 tenths a lap though. So at this rate, I believe the Jamaican Bacon will stay ahead of Night Owl. Will that 3 tenths a lap gap slowly start decreasing? It looks to be decreasing. Night Owl 2.5. And he's got a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit warnings. I think the Jamaican Bacon has just been saved by the track limit penalties. Jamaican Bacon just needs to relax now. Stay within that 3-second time penalty gap of Night Owl. And all will be made up at the end. No need to push the car for any extras. 1 penalty away makes this race extremely interesting here. As we have got Shredded Meats that has span around yet again. I believe that is the same place as before where Shredded has span. Shredded, of course, a very nice person. And it's a shame to see such a nice person have errors over the track. Night Owl still pushing though to try and beat Jamaican Bacon on track by the looks of it. 2.2 separates the Jamaican Bacon and Night Owl. Of course, it's hard to gain 3 seconds in 2 laps, or should I say 5 seconds in 2 laps. It's hard to happen, but it is possible. One mistake from that Williams driver and it's game on for the Mercedes. I think the Mercedes knows that. That gap is now 1.9 or very close to being 1.9 seconds at least. Night Owl, I think, is hoping for a track limit penalty to kick in for the Jamaican Bacon. But I don't think it's coming. I don't think it is coming. And Mare and DWR Flames look to have had a little scrap on the straight. And Demizzi looks to be leading that pack. No, Demizzi is far away from that pack. It is the other Alpha Tauri that looks to be joining that pack. And that is, of course, Mr. Fade. Fade Jacob, who I think may still be in AI. Disqualification coming his way. BP Reggie though, 15 seconds clear. What a race it's been from BP Reggie so far. 15 seconds clear. Domination. Utter domination from the Aston Martin driver. Take a bow. Night Owl 1.3 off now. The Jamaican Bacon is slowing by the looks of it. Of course, doesn't need to get or risk any time penalties. There's no need to risk anything. At the moment, it's looking fine for the Jamaican Bacon. But 1 3-second time limit 1 3-second time penalty changes everything. Shredded meats disqualified, parked in a dangerous location. Is that the same location that we saw another disqualification happening? I believe it might have been. Sector 2. It's a dangerous place to be by the looks of it. Shredded meats, of course, having a brilliant race up until that disqualification. It's not looking the best for that driver today. However, Night Owl, less than 2 tenths behind the Jamaican Bacon now. Was it too little? Was it too late? I think it might have been. I think that time penalty has been the death of the or the death of Night Owl today. I think Night Owl may have done a last to second place here if the Jamaican Bacon had have got a penalty. And if Night Owl didn't get a penalty. But there is 2 tenths between these two drivers. Who will win on track? As we will see BP Reggie cross the line to win the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Utter dominance from the Aston Martin driver. However, there's a battle here. Jamaican Bacon and Night Owl to cross the line side by side. It's a photo finish. Night Owl wins on track. But Jamaican Bacon wins after that time penalty is applied. Will Night Owl be able to get that time penalty removed? That is another issue that the stewards will have to look at. But we will see Latifi finish P4. A good finish from Latifi. Massa P5. However, FaZe Kermit will take P5 after the time penalty Massa had. Demizzi to cross the line for P7. Will it be enough to keep P7 though? It will be. Mayor P8. I believe that's the first point finish Mayor has had this season. And the first time that I have personally seen Mayor not crash. DWR Flames comes P9. And then followed out by... I'm not actually too sure. Driver of the day is Night Owl. But for me, it would have been BP Reggie. Just a dominant performance from the get-go. As you will see at the podium here. That will be the end of the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Chaos at the start. Easing it up. Into the race. There were some great battles between many drivers. A lot of time penalties around the place, around the grid. But our winner today is BP Reggie. From a dominant performance. Takes home that fastest lap point as well. The Jamaican Bacon in P2. Night Owl P3. Latifi P4. FaZe Kermit P5, Massa P6, Demizzi P7, Mayor P8, 9th is DWR Flames, 10th is Neo, 11th is Elite Shots, 12th is Andy Moore, unlucky to not be in the points after a good qualifying. BCX in 13th, Fade Jacob in P14, Cal P15, Shredded P16, and Connor P17. Wow. What a race. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow. I'll be racing in Tier 1 tomorrow around Brazil. So make sure you tune in as well. 7 PM. Make sure you're there for Tier 1 Round 9 Brazil.